leg.
Harder.
Shot.
Gotcha. Hey, try to get the tourniquet out if you can.
What does a rifle give you? Well, there's a lot more than just shooting people, that's for sure. And the first thing that comes to mind is a splint. You just got shot, your femur's broken. Maybe you got blown up. The only way to get off the X is you need to be able to move your legs. Well, what is one thing that every soldier has? It's a rifle. Put the rifle to the side of your leg, you tie it up with some 550 cord, and you got yourself a way to go and at least get yourself off the X, which is pretty neat. What happens if you need to go and carry somebody off the battlefield and you don't have a stretcher with you? Well, a rifle is a great way to do that. So you get two rifles, maybe the main person carrying, the main medic, as well as the soldier's rifle, which should be on him, and you get the camouflage jacket off the person who's wounded, and you tie that together to each of the rifles, and then you carry them up, and you have yourself a makeshift stretcher. Rifle is also a tool to shoot a lock open to get you into safety. I've done this multiple times. It's something that it can be used, and a lot of people said, oh, it'll never work. You need a shotgun. No, it worked first try. You can open up locks with it, obviously. You can break open windows, all right? We use that to go and break open windows. It's a long stick that's metal. So if you need to break open a window, you just kind of jab it in there, and yeah, the window's gone. Kaput. It's also a tool to shoot down drones, shoot mines. You know, you can disable a lot of things with this rifle, other than just shooting other enemy soldiers. A rifle is also a tool to scare people off, which I think a lot of people don't really think about. I was able to scare off a drone with it. I've scared shepherds off with it, shepherds that we thought were ISIS. You could scare people off just by pointing the rifle. Just by having a rifle on you, people start to go away. You can kind of clear the area. So it shouldn't be unsaid. The intimidation factor is insane. And speaking of intimidation, it doesn't just go for a rifle. I know in Iraq we would use the dushka frequently to suppress the enemy. And you know, suppression is another thing that you can use a rifle for. But if the enemy hears dushka rounds, it's a very distinct sound when it's cracking over your head, and you can hear it in the distance. They don't know if it's a planted dushka or if it's a bigger vehicle with a bigger weapon next to it. Maybe it's a 50 cal mounted on a tank. It's a great way to intimidate the enemy into thinking that you have more firepower than you do. A rifle is also a good way to hunt. Imagine you're on the front line, you've been eating rations forever, or imagine you're going through the tunnels, you know, as you do, and you encounter an Africanized porcupine. These things are dangerous. They like to run at you whenever they're scared. So you got to take care of it. So it's pest control. It's safety for yourself. I've shot so many snakes in Iraq, and they have the most venomous snakes. These black ones, it's crazy. Rattlesnakes too. I've shot them a lot, and this was part of our job because we a lot of times slept inside the forest, and we had to have a way to go and quickly incapacitate, dispatch the snake. And a rifle does the trick. A rifle is also a signaling device. Think about tracers, right? If you want to mark a target, you get your rifle, you put some tracers in it, and you fire at the enemy and whatever you're commanding. Whether it's an air power like drones, a jet, anybody who's looking at these tracers knows that, okay, that he's shooting at the target right there. I'm gonna engage that threat. Maybe it's your machine gun squad. Whatever it is, you can use as a marking device. Or the way that we used it in Syria and Iraq was a signaling device to get the hell off of the base, or to go and make the other bases around you get into their fighting positions because something's happening. You fire a couple times in the air, everybody knows what that means. 3 times in the air means get inside, they're about to bomb. Or disperse because they're about to bomb. Depends where you are. During a time of war, when we're expecting the enemy to attack, we would fire a couple times in the air and everybody gets to their fighting positions. It all depended on the rate of fire, depending on how many bolts were fired, but it's a signaling device. And obviously that is based on noise, and it's also a noise deterrent. You can use the dushka for that, you know, you can deter people, but when I think of a noise deterrent, I think of recon by fire, which is kind of like that. Recon by fire is where you use your rifle to conduct reconnaissance. If you don't know if anybody's in the forest, if you don't know there's Russians patrolling there, maybe there's a death squad somewhere in there, just fire a couple times inside the forest and they might react. If they react, you know they're there. So that's recon by fire, and you can conduct reconnaissance from your fighting position with a rifle, which is really cool. I already said suppression, but yeah, suppression. Think about putting everybody's heads down. You can put so many people's heads down just by firing in a general direction. You can stop an assault. You can stop a movement. All it takes is a rifle. A rifle is also a way to get fit. This is something I found out, especially in Iraq and Syria, where we didn't have any working out supplies. We had a little bit that we made out of concrete, but I would frequently use the PKM or my rifle, put my plate carrier on one end, my backpack on the other, and I do curls, or I do rows. I can do so many things with the rifle in order to work out. Tricep extensions, literally anything you can do with a rifle. It's a very handy device when it comes to working out and you don't have the supplies. A rifle is also a tool to cover your friends, right? So covering is the idea that you are pointing a rifle at where the enemy is, and if they approach, then you can fire at them. Or it is covering by actively shooting. You can actively fire at that corner, actively suppress the enemy. It doesn't always mean shoot, it just means to intimidate or be ready. You are ready within a 500-meter bubble. With anything that's a 5.56 or 5.45, it's a 500-meter bubble. You can react to it if you have direct line of sight on that target. And speaking of the AK, I think a lot of other weapon systems, it's wire cutters. You know, how many times would you need wire cutters on the battlefield, especially with all the fiber optic cables going around, with a barbed wire, with all sorts of different things. You're gonna need them, and I've used them on multiple occasions. I've used them to cut down wire all the time, especially when we were putting wire around our base to go and keep the shepherds away. Using my bayonet and my rifle, it worked out just fine. A rifle is a tool to train. Obviously, you can train for shooting, but you can train in many, many other ways. And above all, a rifle is a tool to keep safe, to do your mission. It is your life. This is why in the Marine Corps we say, without my rifle, I'm nothing. If you're in the military, deployed or not, if you're 2 meters away from your rifle, you're wrong. And there's a good reason for that. Your rifle is your life. Without your rifle, you are nothing. You are nothing. You can't do anything. That's why it's so important to a soldier. This is what a rifle gives us. So I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you also saw my drip. You can buy one of these on bunkerbranding.com. The link will be in the description. But anyway, hope you guys learned something. Peace.